Well, it's would I say a very friendly weather out here in the city of Port Harcourt, and this weather came with positive vibes. On that note, I would say welcome to Garden City Rendezvous, where we bring you happenings in the city of Port Harcourt. Here we are out to entertain, inform, and educate, and that's exactly what we do. By the name, my name is Francis Nsan, and today's outing promises to be very interesting as we have a very interesting features and packages to bring to you on our screen. Well, in the course of the week, we had the Children's Day celebration that came with lots of energy because I was part of that celebration. I'm talking about the activities that took place here at the NTA premises on Wednesday, that's the 27th of May, 2026, of course. We had lots of children here in the NTA Entertainment Grounds to celebrate with us. And of course, you know that children are blessings from God. It's our duty to take care of them, guide them, protect them, and give them the positive guidance they need to achieve whatever they need to achieve in life. Away from that, we had like a double celebration because it's also what I really refer to as the Big Salah, where the Muslim faithfuls came together to celebrate. It was a huge one, a double pack indeed. Well, apart from that, we also have other features that we'll be pushing for you, topical discussions that will be of interest to the society. To kickstart our morning, we'll start with this very interesting musical video by Onye titled YSM. Let's enjoy.
They watch you from afar, ears eyes while them are watching. My life will cover, wicked black one, this happening. Anywhere we go, anywhere we flow, them are happening. Can't trust them all, them are suckers. In a me face, it looks real love, but a death trap. The struggle of you real, you can call yourself independent. Them right on me path, only Jah knows when me heading. Me pull and pull, the nets come back by the empty. Now make fun of me, you had a helper. To meet and greet them, we need some haircut. You had a stepping stone, we need so rocky. To make it true, we have to hustle. Now make fun of me, you had a helper. To meet and greet them, we need some haircuts. You are the stepping stone, we need so rocky. To make it true, we have to hustle. Ejuwalam megwegu, uwere onye nyinyaka. Ejuwalam megwegu, uwere onye nyinyaka. To Jamie a call, the enemy they war each other. No enemy within, the enemy out there can't hurt you. Hold on to your secret, you don't know come from the enemies. Can't trust them walking on my side by the envy. Me feel them a call and give on me in a pursuit. Me call and call, and poverty call them no answer. Now make fun of me, you are the helper. To meet and greet them, we need some haircut. You are the stepping stone, we need so rocky. To make it true, we have to hustle. Now make fun of me, you are the helper. To meet and greet them, we need some haircuts. You are the stepping stone, we need so rocky. To make it true, we have to hustle. Ejuwalam megwegu, uwere onye nyinyaka. Ejuwalam megwegu, uwere onye nyinyaka. Walikwata walikwatwa, walikwata walikwatwa. Why stand? And you give up on the beating of your money.
you're just joining us, the program is a Garden City Rendezvous coming to you live from the Nigerian Television Authority, Port Harcourt Network Center. Like I told you that today is going to be really filled with very interesting and a topical discussion. Top amongst that is the topic on parenting. And of course, we are still celebrating our kids, which celebration, the Children's Day celebration, took place on the 27th of May. So that regard, we have a special personality here in the studio in the person of Mrs. Grace Daferechi. You are welcome to our studio.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. You're looking gorgeous.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Okay, so let me start with how did you celebrate your Children's Day celebration?
Okay, my Children's Day celebration was quite an interesting one.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't really go out with my children, but we had an awesome time at home. Yes, we had a time together, question and answers, trying to reassure them of their identity, who they are, and how we love and appreciate them, letting them know that we are a safe place for them as their parents. And I also made some things for them. I got them gifts, recorders. I made little things at home, popcorn, soda drink, and we had a great time at home.
Great time.
That was how we
Awesome,
celebrated.
awesome indeed. Now we're talking about parenting, and two things really comes to my mind. First of all, the style of parenting, which I'll refer to as the old school parenting, and then the trendy parenting. Back in the days, we experienced parenting in a very different way, and today we see that kids are brought up in a different way. Certain realities also have to play. Talking about tech, the lifestyle, the approach to even instructing kids on how to do things, the do's, the don'ts, and all those things really change. Like when I was still very young, a child, so to say, my mom could just look at me and I understand the message.
Yes.
But that communication flow is not really there anymore. It's like the trend has really changed. So let me get your take on this.
Okay, for me, we have to take from the past. There are morals from the past.
Okay.
We also have to take from what is going on now, based on 21st century parenting and what is obtainable. But for me, what I practice is intentional parenting.
Wow.
Some persons call it the gentle parenting, they call it so many things, but I practice intentional parenting. Because if you're intentional as a parent, you're going to, look at every aspect of your child. You're going to look at the messiahness in them. Because there's a messiahness in every child. Every human being created by God, there's a reason they are created. So if you are an intentional parent, you have to understand their messiahness. And when you understand that, that leads you to the things you do to ensure that they come out well.
Okay.
Yes, they be who they ought to be. So I practice intentional parenting.
Intentional parenting.
Speaking from the past.
The past.
What is right now, and putting it together, intentional parenting. So I get a better outcome.
Okay. There's one, I keep wondering these days of technology, where even in schools, teachers even give assignments to kids and say, go back, use your Google, research AI and all that. Now, at what age do you think it's really appropriate for a child to start using a phone?
A phone. Okay, now using a phone depends on who the child is, whom you've trained the child to be, and what the child is putting out there. Do you understand?
I guess you.
Like, as they're coming up, there are researches they will give to them that will require you, to guide them to make certain research. But it gets to a time when you can actually give them the opportunity to make some researches themselves. Like, some of them have laptops. In fact, there are schools where all their exams are done with laptop. I'm an educator too, so there's a school I take that we don't do exam with paper.
Okay.
We do it on Google Classroom.
Okay.
So if a child attends such school, the child definitely have an iPad or a laptop to his or herself. So when it comes to making research, it gets to a stage where they can do their research. Now, if they are going online to do researches, they still need to be guided. You know, before you hand them a pad, hand them devices and leave them, you still need to be guided. That's why every family should have what we call a media plan. We have a media plan, and we know, okay, if you're using the screen, see the time frame you spend. If you're going online, see, this is what you do. Now, parenting is there's something a wise speaker said. He said, discipline is not an emergency. It's not when the child have start going wrong, making mistake, you not start running everywhere. No, you have to train the child. Have this media. Every family should have a media plan and a media guide. So you're leading the child, you're helping the child. Even when the child is going online to make research, to do one or two things, they know what they are going to do. Now that is it. Now when it comes to you handing over their personal phones to them, it depends on who your child is. It depends on what you train the child to do. And you know, there are a lot of children out there that are already doing well online, like this girl Ima, the Willows family. I don't know if you know about them. Ima is 12. She just celebrated her birthday this month. She's 12 years old, but she's doing a lot of things, inspiring other children, both younger children and children that are even older than her. Now, because Ima parents discovered who she is and guided her in that direction, she's able to be out there because she knows what she's doing. Now, if your child is not yet trained, is not yet equipped, and doesn't know what to do out there, the child has no business being there. But if the child has been equipped, then the child can be guided. Be out there, do what you need to do. Now, when it comes to handing your child a phone, if your child is not ready, doesn't know what to do with it, then the child does not need it yet. Because you can see, even we as adults, sometimes we get distracted by phone. We even get addicted, you know. So you can imagine what will happen to a child if a child is not well equipped, not well guided, and the child is handed a phone. So it depends. Have you taken care of your child? Have you groomed your child? Does the child know what he or she is going to do there? That is what you should put into consideration before the child is handed over a phone. And you also have to know the benefit, a lot of benefit the child can get by, you know, making researches. That is it.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I think that was some months back. I attended the Parents Teachers Forum, my children's Parents Teachers Forum, organized by the PTA, that's Parents Teachers Association.
Okay.
And one of the discussions that really dragged for a very long time was about discipline, because you know, there are different approaches to different parents, you know, and it dragged for so long. Some recommended that the kids should be disciplined by beating, while others say, wow, don't touch my child, you don't dare it, and all that. So at the end of the day, it was very difficult to conclude. So as an expert now, I want to get your take on this. How do you think a child should be disciplined? Is beating actually recommended?
For me, no.
Okay.
Because beating is like inflicting a pain on the child. You know, what even leads you to hitting another human being sometimes can be trauma from your past, based on how you were raised. In fact, I'm currently on a course that ended yesterday on healing from childhood trauma.
Okay.
Organized by the TIP, the Intentional Parents Summit. I think they're even having one today here in Port Harcourt, the Intentional Parents Summit. Every human being, some people are coming from a lot. Some adults are coming from a lot. Some adults are coming from a lot times 10, based on how they were raised, based on the knowledge their parents had, you know. So we've learned that, hitting them, like the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child.
Yeah.
You know, hitting them is a way of discipline. But no, before you even raise your hand to hit a child, I think it's a trauma response. It's based on how you were raised. It's based on the fear you have that if you don't hit, things will go wrong. If you don't do this. So I think you must not hit a child. but you can speak to a child. You can disciple a child. You can build certain skills in a child that helps to regulate the child. Like, some of the problems, some of the things we see children do that are wrong is based on the skill that they lack. So if your child misbehaves, two things. It means that the child have either forgotten who he or she is, or doesn't know who he or she is. So you have to ensure that you build certain skills in children before you even require them to do certain things. And what are those skills? Emotional regulation. 2 months ago, I took it upon myself to ensure that my children learn certain skills. So we talked about it and we started doing it. In fact, this week, the topic we've been practicing this week is emotional regulation.
Okay.
So I tell them, let's see how you regulate your emotion today. Let's see how you talk with your inner voice. Let's see how you respond when someone annoys you. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you who is the winner for today. So all through this week, we've been working on emotional regulation. So if you can build some skills in your children, you find out that you will not need to hit. You find out that if there is an error, there are other ways to correct it. Emotional regulation is there. Problem solving is there. We took it upon us, we learned about it. Problem solving is there. Delayed gratification is there. And so many. So if you see your child not behaving well, ask yourself, what skill is my child lacking?
Okay.
When you discover the skill your child is lacking, focus on building the skills. When you build the skills, the child will be able to, when the child is skilled, the child will do what they ought to do, because discipline is not an emergency.
Okay.
That is it.
Okay. Now, there are certain sensitive topics or discussions that parents really shy away from. Not all parents, but some parents shy away from. And when it comes to the issue of sex or puberty, some parents really shy away from it. So, what's your approach on how to handle this with your kids?
Okay. Okay. When it comes to sex education, there's something called the law of first mention. As a parent, you have a huge role to play. If you don't mention about sex first to your children, whoever they hears it from, that's what they take. So if you are silent about educating your children on sex, the world will educate them, and it will give it to them in a wrong way. So sex education is very important for our children, and it should be given to them age appropriately. From when your child is 2 years, from when your child is 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, then from 5 years to 8 years, 10 years. So sex education is very important.
Okay.
Yes. So if you don't give it to them, some other person will give it to them. And when it comes to educating your children on sex education, there are things you can take away.
Okay.
You can take away educating them on drug use. You can take away educating them on the music they listen to and all that, because some children, they will tell you the first time they had a sexual intercourse, it was because of drug, what they took.
Okay.
So you can't leave out drug use, you can't leave out music, you can't leave out the environment.
Okay.
So when it comes to sex education, all this is involved. But then don't forget the law of first mention. And it's not a one-time thing. It's something you have to educate and keep educating and keep educating. You don't have to put fear in them. You don't have to tell them that sex is bad. But you have to tell them the use of sex, why sex is needed, and when it should be used, the appropriate way of using it. Sex education has if you leave talking about sex education, you're going to create a lot of damage in your children.
Thank you very much. And time will not really permit us to go on and on. But in conclusion, briefly, please, can you tell us, as a parent, how can we raise our child in this challenging economy? And then your direct advice to the kids. Yeah.
Okay. In this
briefly,
current economy, if you must raise a whole child, a complete child, then you have to practice intentional parenting. If you want to raise a whole child, you have to unlearn the wrong things you've learned from your parents. Because whether you like it or not, no matter what you know, the blueprint you have about parenting is what your parents have done to you in the past. You may not like the way you were parented, but if you don't heal from your childhood trauma and hurts, if you don't heal, you're going to bleed on your children who did not cut you. So you have to intentionally heal from childhood trauma. You have to intentionally learn the right thing you need to do as a parent in order for you to parent well. And it is intentional parenting. And as you do so, I promise you will so. Now for the children. God has given your parents an obligation to raise you up. He said, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he'll not depart from it. Now, it is your own responsibility to listen to your parents and obey them, obey their direction. So listen to your parents. Know that your parents are safe places for you. Speak to your parents when you're being bullied. Speak to them when you're troubled, when you have problem, and trust them. And trust God. So you be obedient and good children to your parents, and God will help you.
Thank you very, very much. We've been speaking to Mrs. Grace Defereci. I really appreciate your presence with us here in the studio. I believe anytime you are called upon, you will definitely come up.
Yes,
I'm sure of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and happy Children's Day to every child out there. We love you all.
Thank you very much. Up next, I said in the course of the week, we had this Children's Day celebration here at the NTA Port Harcourt Entertainment Grounds. So we are going to give you an insight on how it played out on that celebration. I was part of that celebration.
It was a moment of excitement and fun-filled celebration as children gathered at the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) Port Harcourt to commemorate this year's Children's Day. The colorful event brought together pupils, students, parents, teachers, and staff members in a lively atmosphere filled with music, dance, and cultural performances. NTA, known for its prowess when it comes to entertainment, had guests spellbound with captivating fun-filled activities transmitted live to the audiences. The zonal director of NTA Port Harcourt, Paul Ate, described children as the hope and future leaders of the nation. Ate encouraged the children to believe in themselves and remain committed to positive values capable of shaping a better society.
I know one day remember that we were here when we were young, to celebrate the Children's Day.
Happy Children's Day to all of you. Happy Children's Day even to the adults, because some of us are still children to our parents. I thank you all for coming. I thank you for making today an awesome outing. I specifically thank parents for bringing their children, teachers, caregivers for bringing their children here. Thank you to our cash sponsors.
Some of the children who looked forward to the yearly event were not disappointed. They speak on how impactful the event is to them and pledge to be responsible leaders in future. The celebration had dance presentations, poetry recitations, and goodwill messages, encouraging children to remain focused on building a brighter future for themselves and the nation.
Well, you see this for yourself that the Children's Day celebration, which took place at the NT Entertainment Grounds on Wednesday, was really filled with excitement. The kids really had fun time. I also enjoyed myself because I was part of that celebration. Well, indeed, I'll say once again, congratulations to the kids for celebrating them, and we always continue to celebrate them because they are our precious jewel and the future of Nigeria. Up next, we have this discussion here in the studio, and I have a special guest who will be talking about care for special children. With me in the studio is Dr. Jigini Bestman, a medical rehabilitation expert. You are welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
You look gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, talking about when you say a child with special need, what does it really mean?
When we talk about a child with special needs, we are talking about children that need additional support.
Okay.
Children that might have physical disabilities, children that have developmental disorders, children that have learning difficulties, children that have neurological conditions and other health challenges that has caused an impairment to them. And these health challenges might be like autism,
Okay.
like cerebral palsy, visual impairment, and physical disabilities. So these conditions affected their development, affected their participation in societies, and we need to care for them. We don't have to leave them like that because they are an important part of the society.
Okay.
So the parents have to be involved in caring for them. The teachers have to be involved to care for them. The health care practitioners have to be involved to care for them. And even the government itself have to also come in to support them.
Okay.
Like the parents now, they have a major role to play because many parents that have these children with special needs.
Okay, let me come in there. Now, how do you know if a child has a special need? What are those things to look out for, or those signs, to observe?
Now, many of them, as they were born, some of them are not congenital. They are developmental disorders,
Okay.
like a child with cerebral palsy. as the child was born, maybe he have a problem with the brain. Part of the brain is damaged, and this part of the brain help to control the movement of the part of the body. So as a child starts developing, you will find out that this child will not be able to control the neck. Some of them will not be able to control the neck. Some of them, it will affect the whole of their leg, and they cannot move their leg. Some of them, it might even affect their hand also. And some of them might affect the whole part of their body, which will cause impairment to them. They cannot move. So these children, if you leave them alone like that, because they cannot move their part of their body, you find out that their part of the body will start experiencing deformity. And when deformity sets in like that, is going to make them to become disabled. Okay. And we don't want them to be disabled in a society. That's why caring for them become very, very important to prevent deformities.
Okay. Now, can special children go to regular schools?
Yes, they can. That is where inclusion is important. So we are looking at inclusion, so they can be included in the society. So when inclusion is taking place, they begin to learn and begin to develop themselves, and their potentials will be developed.
Now when we talk about children with special needs, it comes to a point in their life where they really need to be independent. You know, they've grown, want to be independent, maybe get married and all that. At that point in their life, what are those? Do you really think one should just let go and let them be, or are there processes which we should undergo into independence?
Now that is where caring for them matters. Now, these children, if proper care is given to them, they can be independent. And we have many of them in the society who have these needs before, because care was given to them, their potentials were developed, and they become independent, become people that matters in society. That's where the parents have to come in. Parents, they don't have to feel shy that they have children with special needs. They have to love these children. They have to have patience with them. They have to encourage them. Then they also have to seek medical attention. There are many of the parents, they abandon their children because they are ashamed, or maybe because of financial difficulties, or some of them might not even be aware that this problem can be solved. And that's where awareness becomes very important. So as a parent, you have to encourage the children. You have to be patient with them. Then engage them in medical care, rehabilitation. And we have a rehabilitation specialist that can take care of these children with special needs. We have occupational therapists who will train them on the activities of daily living. And as they are engaging them on the activities of their daily living, you see that they will be developing. We have a time come that these children will need one assistive devices or the other, which enable them to stand, walk, and prevent the deformities that they might have. And that's where prosthetics and orthotics now have to come in to design and one artistic devices or the other that these children might need. But if they are left just like that and care is not given to them, you find that there are going to be deformities that will come in. And as a medical practitioner, I have experienced, I've seen a lot of these patients like that. Like an instant, there's a child with a cerebral palsy. I was called, and when I met this child, the child was 15 years old. But this child does not look like a 15 years old, or looking like a child of 5 to 7 years old. And when you look at this child, you see that the hand has a curve, the foot has curve and having claw foot, Even the elbow joint, elbow is already curved and stiff. The knee is bent, curved and stiff. Now the spine itself, the spine bent, and the child is having already scoliosis. And this child, now even the neck, the child cannot control the neck. And this child is 15 years old. The child cannot stand, cannot do anything by himself. Why? Because this child was neglected. But if this child was given care, all those deformities that child have, he wouldn't have those deformities. Those deformities could have been prevented. If the therapy child was being engaged on therapies, their muscles can regain strength back again. And you will find out that this child can stand and walk again. Because they have challenges, physical or special needs, does not mean that they are less potential. Many of them can talk, many of them they are smart, because they are being engaged, inclusion. So we have to engage them.
Okay. Now, talking about inclusion and engaging them, research has it that some of these special needs kids are faced with bullying, especially in school or play environment. So, as an expert, how do we protect our kids from bullying or abuse?
Now that's where the teachers now have to come in. The teachers have to make the school conducive. School environment have to be conducive for these children, so that these children can participate, included in the learning process. So the teachers have a great role to play. So we don't have to neglect these children, abandon them like that. So it's very, very important.
So what's one thing the society gets wrong about children with special needs? Because like you said, with proper, attention, a lot of crises could be averted. So what are those things that you think that the society is really getting wrong? Let's get this correction, and then advice you have for people on inclusion.
Now, like societies, we don't have to discriminate these people. They are part of the society. They are important people. We don't have to make them to feel stigmatized. We have to include them. We don't have to isolate them. So we have to include them in the activities. So them being people with special needs does not mean that they are less in potential. They have brain. They are smart. So we have to include them in society. The government have to also come in creating rehabilitation centers. And also there are the World Health Organization has made some assistive devices that are essential, that every government have to help these people with special needs. So the government have to come in to make assistive devices accessible and affordable for these people.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Doctor, using you as a model, can you share your experience on how your successes and experience in taking care of kids with special needs, and then what advice will you throw out to persons out there to follow this model?
Now, children that I have seen that have these challenges, when the parent they come to the clinic and they present this patient, I'll have to encourage them. I tell them that don't lose hope. They have to have faith and courage that this child can walk again, that this child can develop and become somebody in the future. Then I will explain to them the process that is involved. Then I will engage them on the therapy. And as therapy, they engage in therapy and they are following up, you find out that many of those deformities, the things that create impairment to them, all those things are eliminated. And you find out that the mother who came to you before in the clinic, that he was very, very moody, angry. By the time he starts seeing the child start walking, the mother start rejoicing and start being happy. So as a parent, I encourage us, society encourage us that these children we don't have to abandon them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doc. I've learned a lot from you. This brief interaction we've had has given me a new, or as I say, reawakening on how to take care of children with special needs. Thank you very much for coming to our studio. And I've been speaking with no other person than Dr. Jigini Bestman, a medical rehabilitation specialist. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, up next, we have a feature on a Canadian Dream Church. Let's take this.
Whenever a nation shifts from the way of the Lord, God will always raise the prophets to call them to order and warn them against the judgment that may befall them if they fail to repent and turn to God. Hence, the senior pastor of Canaan Dream International Christian Center, Port Harcourt, Pastor David Abidoye, organized a 5-day program titled Pivot to bring the church back to God.
The word pivot as a verb is an English word. As a verb, it means to turn, to shift, or to change. So in other words, what God intended to do in this program was to get his people to experience a turnaround, and to get them to turn back to him, turn back to God. Of course, we know the state in which our nation is today, and one of the solutions that we have to the problems that bedevil Nigeria as a country is the problem of departing from God.
Sunday 24th May being the grand finale of the program featured different activities. The high point of the program was a series of prayers. Other ministers were also invited, and some shared their experiences.
Into seasons. When we talk about the word pivot, is about bringing us to seasons. And pivot is not a once and for all thing. It's about change in seasons at every point in time. So the Bible tells us that God changes our times and our season. So for everyone, you can think, oh, I've arrived at a season. God takes us, is a progressive God. So I got to understand that no matter the season that you are, there's not an end to a season. A season comes and another season goes. Until we meet with the Lord, we'll continually have changes in seasons. So even in business, you have change in season.
Whole pivot experience has been so amazing. I got a lot of things. One of the things that I got is that I'm stepping into my new season, and I'm so excited. I don't think I've recovered from the excitement. It's just like when they announce to you that you've gotten a new job. I'm literally feeling the excitement of the testimony that is coming already.
Have to be ready spiritually and physically, because when it happens, a lot of things were spoken on today, and I took notes of the things that Pastor talked about, because they were really much. So he said you need to have a change of appetite because of the things that you liked before. So at a certain age, let food not be that appetite if you want a change.
The church is a place of reconciling man to his creator.
When we turn away from God, we begin to experience all kinds of unpleasant, unwanted circumstances and experiences, such as what we have today. And so Pivot is a conference that's organized to get us to turn back to God, to get us to have a mind shift, to have a shift in the way we think, and then to have a change of story, to have a change of experience, to have a change of season.
you are just joining us, the program is Garden City Rendezvous, coming to you live from the Nigerian Television Authority, Port Harcourt Network Center. And so far, so good. I believe we'll be having a very wonderful time here in the studio as we'll be having very interesting and topical issues pertaining to the celebration of our kids' festival, and also the celebration that coincided. That was on the 27th and 28th of May. And with me in the studio today, I have a special guest, my very good friend indeed. And I'm talking about no other person than Imam Sadiq. Also with him in the studio is Zainab Abdul Salam. So you are welcome to our studio. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Salam alaikum.
Malaikum salam. Yeah, I got it right.
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you for really coming around. I know that when it comes to festivities like this, I'm always following up on you, calling you,
Yes.
felicitating with you and trying to get informed about happenings around. And it's really significant, especially when there's this slaughtering of ram. Then I start telling you, keep my share and all that. So it's really fun to be. So today in Focus, let's talk about the significance of the Salah celebration.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To all our listeners, may the peace and blessing of God be upon each and every one of us. Happy Eid al-Kabir. So the first thing we have to know is that God, the Almighty, who created us, also demand for our total obedience and our sacrifice. So this Salah, this big Salah, as we generally call it, it's a period why we glorify God the Almighty for His existence, and to showcase our faith in God, just like we have believed from the Abrahamic, the source, that is Prophet Ibrahim, may the peace be upon him, and the sacrifice, the way he offered that sacrifice some thousands of years ago, that also radiates to us, since the generation of human being is a continuous process. So because of that, we also inculcate that habit in sacrificing obedience as praising of God during this particular season. And before this season actually comes into being, there are some activities that have been going on. You see the pilgrimage to the Saudi Arabia, we call it Hajj, which is the fifth pillar of Islam. So our people are there. You can see that unity. No segregation, no tribal, no nation, no discrimination among all the nations. You see everybody, they are all together. The white, the black, the brown, we are all there together. That is the first signs. After all these activities, you see the wonders of God. It is after that they now come back. It is on that Arafah where the Holy Prophet Muhammad gave the last sermon. And the key of that sermon is that there should not be any discrimination. There should be love among all human beings. We should respect one another. So on that, when they go to that Arafah, it was that day that we, the second day we celebrate Salah all over the world. The same day, you can see that unity as we are doing in Nigeria, in Ghana, and all over the world. We are doing the same thing, that is sacrificing for the sake of God the Almighty. And as we are sacrificing, these days, we know how the economy is. But one of the special things of these days that God Himself told us in the Holy Quran that that it's not the blood that concerns me, it's the fear of God that you need it. And God also commands us that give those meats you are slaughtering to those who will ask you and those who will not ask. This is the class of people we have in society. So when we slaughter those animals, you already know that all these animals, if you know, if you slaughter cow, camel, you have to divide it into three. One for your family, one for your family and friend, to the friends, and one specially to the needy. Those who know that they need. They may not come and ask you. You must extend those things to them, and that's what we have showcased during this period of this our festival. And love. Some people, some family, we have Christian, we have Muslim, we have those who don't go to anywhere. But during this Salah period, when you see everybody gathered, they will gather together, no discrimination. Nobody will ask you, do you pray before you eat meat? Everybody, you must entertain everybody. And this also brings families together. You travel down to your family, extended family. In the West, this festival, you say Ujujueba, it was just to show gratitude. So you can now see how it has become a very large festival of a thing in those areas. So these are the benefits of this this salah. And now that obedience is also shown as when you obey God, God will lessen your affairs for you. It will help you to assist you in whatever thing you are doing. When Abraham had the mind that, okay, I obey God, God said, okay, I've seen that the obedience in you, and he replaced that sacrifice with ram. So that also tells us that when God give us commandments that we should not kill one another, we should be friendly with one another, we should assist one another. If we follow all those things up, it should be a beneficial thing to us, and we'll be able to live in a communal society. All this crisis we are seeing, it will reduce when we see ourselves as one. But because we are not reflecting on those things, that's why we are seeing the kind of chaos in the society.
Okay, so the slaughtering of the ram is not just seen as maybe sharing of meat, but it's really symbolic.
Yes, it's very symbolic. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, Zainab, let me come to you. Talking about women and sacrifice, the role of women in the celebration cannot be overemphasized. So I want to hear from you now. What the role of women during the celebration is?
All right. Thank you very much for the question. Okay, so everybody knows that women is the soul of women. Without us, things might not go as rosy as you expect. So just envision a place where there's a party going on and there's no woman there, then definitely it can't be as interesting as it is. So women are the ones that would bring all this together. Fine, the men are the ones that would drop the money, kill the ram, but then the women are the ones that would go about sharing the ram, cooking the food, bringing the children together, bringing the whole family together. In fact, in the West, it's so interesting that all the wives will come together and there's this unity, you cook together, you do things together, and so it makes life more interesting and fun. And so basically women are the ones that are already that are at the back end, in fact front end too, because they'll be the ones to distribute this food and meat and everything and bring the children together and make life very interesting.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, coming back to you, Imam, Salah, the way I assess it is quite an expensive celebration, because going to get ram now, it's really expensive, and the whole celebration and all that, wearing good clothes and all that, jubilating. And how are you able to accomplish this amidst the present challenging situation we find ourselves?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, that one of the commandments of God the Almighty that have to do with this celebration is that working on our mortar. I should give those that they cannot, they don't have. So even though if you kill a very small ram, you know that on that small ram there are those who must give. Other things we also do as a Muslim community is that there are some community that they are indigent community where we buy ram and give to them. That's okay. We also take this ram and celebrate and kill and celebrate with your family. There are some small units we assist with food stuff, because that is the reason for this celebration. This one we not fast. The day just come and we have to celebrate together. So and said to glorify God. You cannot say you are serving God and you neglect your fellow human being. You can't be happy. The Holy Prophet said, "Who is your neighbor? Say 40 hours to the front, to the back, to your right, to your left." So you can't be celebrating without considering all of these people. So in this economy, what we have done is that if you go to some villages, we also see, even though as we are in the south here, there are some villages that they have Muslim that we extend this gift to. That okay, take this ram, and they also share and they celebrate together with us. We also visit ourselves, our members. These are we visit one another, so that to make everybody to be lively. That despite the harsh economy, we are able to still celebrate together.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Zaina, back to you. What's your message or charge to the women in general and the Muslim faithful?
Women in general, as a woman, we said if you train a woman, train a nation. So women in general, we need to learn more, have more knowledge, so that we can impact our children positively in the nation. Because if you cannot give from an empty cup, you have to fill up before you can pour out. So I would advise women generally to be knowledgeable, to have this inspiration within themselves, how they want their children to be, because that is what will inform what the nation is going to be in eventually. And as a Muslim woman, we have more to do because you are in charge of the home, you are in charge of the husband, you are in charge of your children. So that is, you are in charge of the nation as a whole. So we need to be more compassionate, we need to be more empathic, and we need to give more.
Thank you very much. Now back to you on a final note. Please, I would like you to briefly give us a charge or message to the world at large and then Muslim people.
My message to all the nation, as our president also gave his message during the Salah, that we should foster unity more in this period, because this period of unity, as I give an example of those who are in Saudi, you can see that passion, how they are come together. So in the nation where we are multi-religion and multi-ethnic group like this, we should also use this period to come together and to show that love with one another, to have compassion with one another, so that we not this crisis that we are facing be able to leave us, and everybody be able to live with one another with peace and harmony. So that's my message. I should be prayerful that God should change the mind of those who are doing evil in the country. May God be with us all.
Thank you very much, Imam. I believe your message and also a message from Zainab has been well digested, and absolutely you've spoken very well. We are more enlightened, knowledgeable on the activities that takes place during the big Salah celebration. I'll say congratulations once more, and thank you. I've been speaking to no other person than Imam, my very good friend, like I address him, Imam Sadiq, and Zainab Abdul Salam. Thank you very much for coming around.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is where we draw our curtain on Garden City Rendezvous. I believe you had a splendid time. Till same time next week, we'll be coming up with another very interesting package. I remain Francis Nsan. Bye for now.